Well, good morning. This is Houndog Steve coming to you on Christmas morning. And please let me first wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year. Anyone who's travelling today, please be safe on the roads. And I will myself be travelling to a community centre where there is a whole ton of people having Christmas dinner together. I love having Christmas dinner in community. It seems such a it's community building, let's put it that way. Anyway, I will be out and about on the roads, but I'm expecting it to be extremely light. So over the Christmas vacation, and I've got a wonderful 8 days off, thank you very much. I will be putting together a couple of videos, and I'm also, I think, going to change my format for the new year a little bit, because there are stories that I come across on Zero Hedge and other websites that I visit. RT especially is another good website, and I don't necessarily want to do a whole sitting here speaking, do a monologue and then do the story. So I think I'm just going to put the story up, read it off, and post it as it is to save a little bit of time, because I know I myself, unless it's a really gripping video, 5 minutes is usually enough, or 10 minutes should be enough to get across what you're trying to say. And of course some of these articles are just so beautifully written, and they seem to sum up exactly my sentiments, and so maybe I can give a little plug for those people and also put across some ideas or some explanation of what is going on out there, because I think that is what is lacking today. And all of us independent broadcasters, now I may be only one spoke in the wheel, but I am scouring the internet for news and relevant information I think pertains to all of us, and that we should pay attention to, which of course we all don't have the time to do that kind of stuff, but as I'm feeding that information in, so it's helping to spread the word, spread good information to help myself and of course all of you try and make sense of what we're seeing out in the world today. And as I say, that is the point of this channel. The other thing I wanted to put up was some predictions for the coming year, and I'm going to go back over my 2019 predictions and see whether they came true. I think they're pretty close, certainly the top 3 or 4, and it's going to be actually difficult to do that this year, because I think we're just in a situation where all of the things that I predicted for 2019 are going to be ongoing, and it's been absolutely staggering. I was just making a list here of the things happened in 2019, and of course this is by no means complete. There are many things that I've probably missed, but here certainly are some of the highlights of 2019. And the Yellow Vests, of course, were the ongoing protests of the year, and they've now been joined by unions that are protesting pension reform. And even the National Ballet in France there had a protest because they are going to be directly and horribly affected by Macron's pension reform. Farm protests have now sprung up in Holland, France and Germany, and this is all part of the carbon tax, which has put up the cost of farming incredibly, and of course the inability to compete with other imports. There has been the ongoing Brexit story and the landslide victory for the Conservatives. This was absolutely unbelievable. Labour have been crushed, and that is going to be a very interesting story coming up. Of course, in January we're going through the final parts of Brexit, and I do, with all my heart, thankfully believe that Brexit will finally go through under Boris Johnson. There's been the roller coaster ride of cryptocurrencies, unbelievable, up and down like a fiddler's elbow. It's just been absolutely incredible. Just south of the border, the ongoing Russiagate, the Mueller report, and now the impeachment. And of course that is yet to unfold in the new year, and I will be following that story quite closely. As I said in my previous video, I have never witnessed anything like this before in my life, and so this is going to be, like I say, an absolutely gripping story. And I understand now that the Democrats are coming forward and trying to push a second impeachment. There's been, of course, Greta Thunberg and the rise of the Extinction Rebellion and all of the shenanigans of holding up public transit. I find that kind of fascinating because I thought public transit was something that we were advocating to save on CO2. And of course there was the COP25 in Madrid. These are the climate change discussions, and of course I'll tell you what happened. Absolutely nothing happened. They just kicked the can down the road, even though that they have been pushing this story that there is only 12 years left for this entire planet to survive. Well, I can tell you, if there's only 12 years left, I'd be doing more than kicking the can down the road. So that should give you a bit of a message there, a bit of an indication as to the sincerity of the IPCC and all of these climate change protocols. Of course, there has been ongoing banking problems. There has been the a resurgence of the Ebola virus in Africa, which is quite concerning. And of course the ongoing food shortages and food shock which is upon us because of the inclement weather around the world, some of the diseases that have cropped up, some of the funguses. There is Panama disease is just devastating the banana and coffee crops, and so that is going to be a price issue right there, because people just love their coffee in the morning. Starbucks is going to, well, I'm sure there's going to be some hand-wringing over all of that. But this is spreading. They can't find a way to stop this disease. And of course there have been blights. That the armyworm, fall and spring armyworm in China have just devastated the corn and soya crops, and now there's been outbreaks of African swine fever, and again that has wiped out the hog operations across China and Europe, and this is leading to a steep increase in pork prices. There's also weather-related issues. Damp springs, early snows in the fall have made it exceedingly difficult for just about every farmer around the world, and that of course will go to expand the price increases of food around the world. And of course if the food prices increase, it's going to basically highlight some of the other problems. So if people are short of money already, if people are having difficulty, and I read a statistic the other day that 48% of the population of Canada are less than $100 away from bankruptcy at the end of every month. Now that is a very narrow margin, and these people cannot afford a significant increase in food prices. And of course the energy prices. Hydro has gone up by 54% in one fell swoop just before Christmas. And so wow, I can see there's going to be some knock-on effects from that as well. There was a near nuclear incident between Pakistan and India this year. That was very poorly reported, but they came very close, over a border misunderstanding. One of the jets flew over and was shot down, and it got very tense for a while there. And India has had ongoing internal problems. There's been a failure of the onion crop, which is more significant than you might think. And of course this has led, quite unbelievably, to the most internet shutdowns have occurred in India over the past year. And this is a troublesome development. And of course Russia is testing a complete internet shutdown as well, and I'm not too sure that I'm keen on the government's ability to shut down the internet, especially at crucial moments when a communication between person to person might be paramount, especially if there are riots, demonstrations going on the streets, that kind of stuff. People need to be able to communicate with each other to be able to stay safe, and of course to be able to document the situation from every possible angle. This is one of the most incredible developments that we've had in the last 20 years, is our ability to communicate not just words but images instantly with each other around the world. And of course, the upcoming elections in the US next year, I think, are going to be staggering. I have no idea who the Democratic nominee will be. I keep hearing Hillary Clinton's name being raised here and there in different corners of the internet, so we shall have to see. And again, as I say, the impeachment has yet to be resolved. But I think there'd have to be something absolutely spectacular happen to have President Trump and the impeachment pass through the Senate with a 2/3 majority, because it is, of course, Republican dominated. And finally, last but not least, and as I say, this is not an exhaustive list of all the things that have happened this year, but we have the changes to YouTube and the COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy and Protection Act, and we still have no idea what that rollout is going to do to channels. I don't think my channel is at any risk, but terms of use, we now have borderline content to deal with on YouTube. And what does that actually mean? We don't know what borderline is. I've had 4 videos demonetized just recently, so that's going to be interesting to see. It sounds like it's going to cut a really wide swath through YouTubers and YouTube creators, and as I say, no one really knows exactly how that is going to work. This is such new legislation, such new terms of use. Both are poorly defined, and so this leaves a very broad interpretation, and that, I think, is going to be an ongoing problem, is loosely defined terms of use and terms of reference, which make knowing how to present very, very difficult. And so in the meantime, I'm just going to present as honestly as I can, and hope like heck that everything keeps on going. For me personally, it has been a great year. I had a fantastic garden. We had basically endless sunshine throughout the entire summer, punctuated by just enough rain to have a super garden. My health has been well, which is fantastic. Always got to like that. I've done lots of work in the kitchen, on my 3-year kitchen renovation. Oh my God, it just seems to be absolutely never ending, but we are into the final leg, thankfully. Made lots of videos with Citizens for Direct Democracy about the council and some of their shenanigans and poor decision making, and of course some of their praiseworthy moments too. Mustn't leave that out. But we've definitely been reviewing budgets and policies and so on and so forth to act as a kind of watchdog, which I think is sorely needed these days, especially at the local level. Also, we started up a group. I'm still working on that, and this is the Grey Army, and this is going to be a lobby group specifically for seniors, and of course we make up the largest voting bloc in Canada right now, and that is a very big leverage, and we're going to use that as lobbying power to try and secure benefits for seniors, because it seems like we are the only group out there without a voice, and we're falling behind. And that's one of the big issues that I think of our time, because we're the baby boomer group. We're going through a lot of the problems that the government is having are self-inflicted, and of course they are inflicting one of the biggest problems facing seniors today, and that is inflation. And they're doing this through their banking and monetary policy. So lots of things to work on. As I say, it's been enjoyable to work with the people that I've been working with, to achieve some of the things that we've achieved, to try and create a hopeful future for all of us, as many as we can. And I think there could be a hopeful future. I think it really just needs all of us to start pulling together in the same direction in a common sense way. And of course, where all that begins is with a vision. And again, through the articles that I post here and stories that I tell and narratives that I give, is hopefully to broaden that vision. We have been given the most fantastic communication tool in the internet, and we should use it fully to our advantage to create a spontaneous society throughout the world that is peaceful and sustainable. and I think that is entirely possible, and that is my hope for all of us for now and going into the future, and I will continue to work along those lines because we are living in interesting times, my friends. Anyway, that is it for me on Christmas Day. Again, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I hope this finds you all well, and thank you all for all of your messages, comments, the gifts that I've been sent. Thank you so much for your contributions. This is all important. I think we have reached a critical time, and I think the new year, again, 2020, that's when we got 2020 vision, and we should all be able to see things very, very clearly. Okie dokie, well, you take care, you have a pleasant Christmas day, and enjoy your Christmas dinner. Don't overdo it, and no drinking and driving, please. That's another thing got to emphasize here. Take care, and we'll talk to you all very, very shortly. See you now. Bye.